The other day I was sketching some black swans, and that night I go home and I flick on the TV, which I don't often do, but I see a news report, and it is that the gay people in Australia are fighting for their rights to be allowed to be married. And now I'm going to do a video connecting the two, black swans and gays getting married. I think it used to trouble me somewhat, because I like to sort of think I'm a fairly liberal-minded man. It used to concern me. I used to be worried that I was homophobic, because I didn't really want to be homophobic. So this was an interesting dilemma for me. And what happened is I saw a movie called, I think it's called The Sum of Us. But anyway, I saw this movie where Russell Crowe gives a full-on kiss to another man. I'd sort of look away and think, oh God, that's so disgusting. You know, I couldn't bear to look at two men kissing each other. And so I thought I must be homophobic. And as I said, it troubled me, because I actually had some friends that were gay, and they were just really nice people. The trouble is, I thought I was homophobic, but the gay people in my life I thought were just fun characters, extremely likeable people. Couldn't help but like them. So I went, and it's just always handy having friends that are like 10 years older than you. That's just a handy hint, you know. If you know someone who's 10 years older than you are, it's really good to make friends with them, because you learn a lot that way. So I had one of these friends that were 10 years older than I was, and I sort of said to him, I said, look, you know, I'm a bit concerned. I think I'm homophobic, because when I saw Russell Crowe kiss this guy, it made me feel sick, you know. And he said to me, and this sort of helped me a lot, he said, no, you're not homophobic, it's just not your sexual orientation. So I thought, okay, so it's okay for, you know, for you not to sort of, you know, like that. But I didn't really hate gays, sort of liked them. I thought it was fun. So that was sort of an advancement from me. That sort of impulse of thinking, ugh, that looks yucky, that sort of natural impulse not to connect that with homophobia was a real help for me. Until now, I guess it's what you're used to as well. Now if I saw two blokes kissing, it wouldn't worry me at all. It doesn't bother me at all. And in fact, I just sort of see that those guys love each other. So that was probably, almost fallen over. So that was probably a big turning point in my life, is to sort of say, okay, I'm not homophobic, it's just not my sexual orientation. Now, of course, what complicated this was like 10 years before that, I was a full-on Christian, and homosexuality is a sin, which is pretty sad. However, if you are a Christian watching this, I do have a few Christian subscribers left, although I think about 20 or so left last week. Basically what Jesus says is do unto others. So what I want you to do, if you are having a problem or an issue, feeling that you're homophobic and you don't want to be, the whole do unto others law, this golden rule, which actually precedes Jesus, it's basically have empathy for somebody else. And what that means is imagine how they feel. So here we are, let's go in a bizarro universe and imagine what it's like, if you're heterosexual, imagine what it's like if most of the population was homosexual. Not only is most of the population homosexual, but most of that population wants you to change who you are. If you're attracted to the opposite sex, they tell you that it's a sin and that you are evil and you have to change your ways. They bully, they coerce, they pressure you into marrying somebody of the same sex. How would you feel? Because that's what we do to gays. In the last few hundred years, we've pressured gays into marriages they don't want, pressuring them into what we consider normal. And so that's where I say, you know, empathy, or doing unto others, or thinking about how other people feel, would work in this situation. if you're not a Christian, you should be, so, hopefully you sort of think this way anyway. There's so much hatred towards gays, and for me, I've never really hated gays. For those Christians who sort of say, hate the sin but love the sinner, homosexuality is who these people are, and so you're still hating them. If you hate what they do, you sort of hate what they are. So it doesn't really wash. Best thing to do is just, consider how you'd feel. Now let's go back into this strange, bizarre universe again where, say 90% of the population is homosexual and you're just one of those strange heterosexual people. Imagine you're living in this universe where people are heterophobic. I'm not sure if that's an actual word or not. But just sort of say that laws are in such a way where you're sort of accepted by a fair bit of the population. Say, yeah, it's okay if you want to have a sexual relationship with someone of the opposite sex, okay, you do that, but you're not allowed to get married. Just imagine how that feels. And that's why I am in favour of gay marriage, because I cannot see a logical and a good argument against gay marriage. Now it's time to get back to the Black Swans. How does this link into the whole story? As we study wildlife, there has been recorded in almost 1,500 species homosexual or bisexual behaviour in wildlife. Now I mention this because when I watched the news the other day, the person who was kicking up a fuss and saying no, it's not natural, was a woman who had this makeup plastered all over her face. I would sort of say makeup's not natural. But do we always have to be natural? I'd say these guys who wear suits and have shaved faces are not natural, but they are the ones who are saying that homosexuality is not natural. Now, it's okay, as I say, it's okay. It's okay to shave if you want to do that. It's okay to wear makeup if you want to do that. But you're not exactly being natural. Using deodorant is not natural. It's actually masking the pheromones of your natural being. So there's lots of things we do that are not natural. Me going home watching the news is not a natural thing. And so the argument doesn't wash when these people are doing unnatural things and then they sort of say, but this is unnatural. But I would sort of say, well, if we see it in nature, isn't it natural? The black swans. Now here we have a nice image here. When I was drawing it the other day, these lovely cygnets, ugly ducklings if you like, and two parents. Now you would assume that that's a mummy and a daddy and there's all the little babies, wouldn't you? However, there is a 25% chance that they're actually two daddies, because about a quarter of the black swan population is male homosexuals. They, I suppose you would probably technically call them bisexual, but they will mate with a female and then drive the female off so that the two males that are bonded together, pair bonded males, can raise the young by themselves. Here we have a homosexual couple raising children. So that's where the black swans come into it. Tasmanian devils. The male Tasmanian devil is extremely homophobic, I suppose you would say. There's just, I don't see any sort of homosexual actions between male Tasmanian devils. Female Tasmanian devils, after they've chased the male off, after they've fallen pregnant, when they have their youngs, will sometimes co-parent with another member of the same sex. So you have two she-devils raising the kids together. So these young Tasmanian devils are raised by two mums. So here we have examples. I see with Tasmanian devils extremely, extremely affectionate animal. And sometimes they are sharing a den together, and sometimes the females are licking, caressing and spooning. If you're in a country where you don't know what spooning is, it's laying on your side and giving a cuddle from the back. So you sort of see this very affectionate behaviour and then co-parenting with Tasmanian devils. Whether it's technically homosexuality or not, well, that depends on your definition. Are we saying homosexuality or sexuality has to be all about sex? A lot of sex, I believe, is probably just really the outpouring of affection that becomes so affectionate. But we do actually see sexual acts. We see them in chimps, we see it in American bisons. There's male homosexuality and penetration with American bisons. There's Amazonian dolphins. There is a lot of actual homosexual acts, if that's what you're looking for. There's a lot of co-parenting, there's a lot of affection. So that's, that sort of tends to me blow out of the water the whole thing, oh, it's natural. I think that's the end of my rant, except I was sort of pretty amazed to find, a couple of years ago, looking through my videos and finding the external links as to why one's getting a lot of hits, I actually found one of my videos on a bearotic site for bears. I sort of find that sort of amusing and sort of flattering. Till next time, see you later.